Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is the Narcissistic Resistance, and this resistance video is sponsored by contribution from April. And here's her story. Hello, Ollie. I've been wanting to write to you for a while now, but it disturbs me so badly. I back away and never send it. It is okay if you use my real name, April. I've sent a contribution via PayPal. For some reason, seeing things written makes me feel alone and shameful, even though I know so many others have experienced the same thing. Please feel free to make a public video if you see fit. I have been researching narcissistic abuse for several years now and have had so many aha moments. For so many years, I had no name for what happened to me, and I have spent so much time in a whirlwind of confusion. There is so much to tell, so I figure I will start with some of my earliest memories. As a side note, I went complete no contact about a year ago from my family, and the more time I am away from them, the more I remember. I'm currently 42 years old. Sexual abuse keeps coming to the forefront in my mind, and things that happened that didn't make sense. My mother was extremely overtly sexual and carried on affairs with strange men when my father would be away. She would take me to these meetups and make me lie about it. Sometimes these men would come to our home. It was not uncommon for her to have me sitting in the front car seat while she was in the back with some man having sex. Yeah, well, I understand that. Coming home to my mother's bedroom door closed a lot while my father was at work and her friend was over, and come home and there was cops at the house. The juvenile officer was at the house because I was such a bad kid, yet I never got into trouble. I was the one getting picked on, yet it was my fault he was there. Chasing her around the table. She had me trained to sit there and be quiet. Before I was old enough to start school, she would drop me off at a so-called friend's house to be babysat while she met up with a woman's husband. I knew all about this and was only 3 to 4 years old. She would always say to me, if your dad asks what we did today, tell him we were at the playground. She never took me to the playground. My dad was in the army, so would be gone a lot, but don't feel too bad for him. He was even worse than her. I will try to get into that side of it more later on. The older I got, the worse she became towards me, calling me a slut, whore, bitch, etc. when I was just a small child and I had no idea why. Projection, because she's a slut, whore, bitch. I now know it was all projection and those things were true about her. She was extremely physically abusive and would beat me without warning, with closed fists or objects she could grab. Yeah, my mother was a grab any object and start beating you with it as well. I never knew when or what would set her off, so I walked on eggshells and tried to be invisible. Impossible to do. Impossible. She would beat me so badly I just knew one day she would go too far and kill me. As I got older, she never allowed me any privacy in the bathroom or to get dressed. She would walk around nude and flaunt herself and make me look at her. And we've all gone through that. The lack of privacy in the bathroom, the barging in on you in the shower, they leaving the door open when they're using the bathroom, the walking around naked all the time, the pornography everywhere, the pictures of lingerie on the refrigerator. These are all just stereotypical telltale signs of narcissistic sexual abuse. I looked at the floor. She would berate me for it. She would just barge into the bathroom when I was getting a shower and stare at me up and down. It was so creepy and disgusting. I would try to cover myself and she would go into a rage, saying she gave birth to me. She had the right to see me if she wanted. And they all say that. I made you. You came out of me. You came out of me. You want to see where you can. Happy birthday. It was so creepy and disgusting. I would try. Oh, okay. She would take notice of any body changes I had and go and tell people about it, and the family would laugh. I was so afraid of growing body hair. I would pluck the hair out of my arms as I guess when I started hitting puberty at like 13, 14. I heard a little later, but I remember, and I was terrified of having to shave because I knew it would be some other disgusting conversation. Like I was trying to fight my own puberty. I remember plucking my own armpit hair out as a... Not because I didn't want to grow up, I just didn't want her to see it. I didn't want it to be commented on. Body shaming started early in life. She would look me over and tell me how ugly I was and so on. I was so paranoid as a kid. I refused to even wear shorts. She would then buy me shorts knowing this and scream at me to wear them. It was all calculated to torture me. Once when I was in the first grade, an older female cousin, 5 years older, tried to get me to touch her breasts. I refused and knew something wasn't right about it. I keep remembering more and more of this sexual stuff, and I feel like I very well may have been molested by someone. I have this sinking feeling inside that there is something just below the surface I am not remembering. I knew about sex long before ever having started school, and it makes me ill. Once there was an older girl when I was in second grade that was wanting to kiss me on the mouth and touch me. All I could say is, what the fuck? I am thinking these females were possibly sexually abused and acting out on me. Usually that's what's going on. My anger keeps me no contact, as it should. The more I remember, the more angry I become towards them. Completely natural and expected, as it should. Of course you're going to become angrier at them, because you're understanding more and more how sick and evil they are. As much as I dislike being angry, I also hold on to it because I know it's keeping me safe from these monsters. I'm going to stop here and try to process this and welcome any comments or feedback you have. There's a great deal more to share, and I will do my best to have the courage to share, hoping it can help others in some way. Thank you so much for what you do. You have helped me with your videos in so many ways. Best wishes to you and your wife, and bless you both. April. Well, April, we have very similar mothers, so, I mean, I would suspect, if you know that much about sex at an early age, whether or not something actually happened to you, okay, and this is what my therapist tried to explain to my brother, and he wouldn't have it, was whether or not you were touched growing up in that environment is in of itself sexual abuse. Now, odds are something probably did happen somewhere in that kind of overtly sexual house, and you said your father was worse than your mother, so. But it doesn't even matter. What you remember, what you already remember about the narcissist is sexual abuse. Exposing a child to that type of, to your sex life at any child, but a child at 3 years old, that's sexual abuse. And it is just as damaging as being touched or something worse. Now, and I don't compare like levels. Well, your abuse is worse than your abuse. You're broken. You're broken, April. They broke you using their sexual abuse. What you already remember of the narcissist proves their abuse. So, thank you so much for your contribution and your story. I hope this helps. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, a narcissist you'd like to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype, phone call, have a private video made, or a Facebook live chat, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or you just want to make a contribution to the channel in general to help it succeed, grow, and expand, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from you guys. Without you, this all goes away. So if you like these videos and you want to see more like them, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been the Narcissistic Resistance.